All right, welcome back to Drive the Lane. The Ohio State football team is 4-0. The basketball team is nailing big recruits, and our fantasy football teams suck. Before we get to all that, of course, we're going to talk about Brain Fuel, our presenting sponsor. Not only the presenting sponsor of the show, but also the presenting sponsor of our live show, which will be at Butcher's Tap in Wrigley, November 4th, the night before the Ohio State Northwestern game. More details to come. But like we said, along with the show, sponsored by Brain Fuel. Brain Fuel's incredible. Joey and I were like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't record this episode today. So what do? We drank some Brain Fuel, and now we've recorded for 8 hours straight. That's just what Brain Fuel does.
Our eighth try. This is our eighth go at it. We're just trying to get better.
It fuels your brain. And Spencer Dinwiddie, we've told you time and time again, Spencer Dinwiddie uses it, drinks it. Marcus Smart drinks it. And now Ayo Dosunmu drinks it, okay? And he beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. So instead of hating him, you should be like, wow, he's better than the guys that were on Ohio State. Maybe getting a little twisted, but he drinks it. So you should drink Brain Fuel, and you should go to BREINFUEL.com. BREINFUEL.com. Joey, I already forgot what the website is. Do you remember it?
BREINFUEL.com.
There you go. So head on over, get some Brain Fuel. And if you live in Chicago, stop at a local 7-Eleven because they are stocked up with Brain Fuel. Check online to make sure the location you're going to has yours. Speaking of Brain Fuel, last week we said CJ Stroud had some Brain Fuel. I mean, the whole offense had some Brain Fuel. They came out and literally punched Wisconsin in the mouth. I saw some stat, probably Bill Landis, that said, you know, they came out and it was 28-0, and each drive was 2 minutes or less. So they literally had like 8 minutes of offense, and it was 28-0.
It was the classic blanker, you're going to miss them score. What I think was so funny is I had two close friends in town, one of which went to Indiana. Indiana's head coach when he was there was Kevin Wilson, who's now the offensive coordinator for Indiana, or for Ohio State. And he was really good friends with Kevin Wilson's daughter. So funny enough, we are showing up at a tailgate, and it's run by the coaches' families. And I have to think that the offensive success for Ohio State for this game specifically was due to the fact that I was drinking and taking shots with Kevin Wilson's wife and Kevin Wilson's daughter. It just and other family members that had relations to him. I just don't know what they were. They could have been his uncle, could have been his cousin. I don't know what they were. Could have been his brother. But I have to think that that's why. So you're welcome. But it's not about me. It's about the Buckeyes. They were unbelievable. The one negative thing, and I always think this is funny, Marvin Harrison Jr. wore the Louis Vuitton cleats. They were sick. LeBron's tweeting about him. Bleacher Report's tweeting about him. Everyone's tweeting about him. They're sick. He's also wearing an Apple Watch, which is hilarious to me and seems illegal, but he's worn them. But he's worn them in the past before. All that being said, I don't think he caught a pass last night.
Yeah, he did. Didn't he have the first catch of the game? Like the first play of the game was a pass to him on the right. I'll look, but keep going with the point you're saying.
Oh no, that the only negative was like he's sick, and we know he's sick, and every time he catches the ball, it's basically a touchdown. But I'm like, I looked at my buddies during the game, and I was like, everyone's tweeting about these Louis Vuitton cleats. Like we're sitting in the stadium, and I'm like, because we couldn't see them. You know, if you're watching the game on the broadcast, I'm sure they zoomed in on them, and Holly Rose talking about them, and great. But we had no clue that they were talking about it until I went on Twitter, and I was like, is Marvin Harrison even playing? Like Jackson Smith-Njigba, I know he's not playing. Is Marvin Harrison playing? Because he hasn't been out here. I bet he had
not the numbers.
Catches.
3 catches for 45 yards. And looking at the stats right now.
So that's so unbelievable. That's way more than I thought.
One was literally the first play of the game, and it was like 25 yards. They probably had like 2 more catches for 10 yards each or whatever. But my question to you is, knowing that Marvin Harrison had that many, and you felt like he didn't even have a catch, how many yards do you think CJ Stroud had? He had 5 touchdowns, okay? They scored 52 points. How many yards do you think he had?
Well, I know that there was a point where they had run 40 plays and 25 of them were runs, which is not typical Ohio State. Thinking about that, he had 356 yards passing.
So he only had 281 yards passing, which is kind of
I
shocking.
think like that was me still saying 350. That was still the low end of what I like. That I was like, that's low.
Right, but they had like 250 rushing yards. Like it was so over 500 yards of total offense. They were just absolutely dominated. And Wisconsin's 21 points is like I said 35-17 is the prediction from the Drive the Lane account. And obviously Ohio State scored more than 35, but in my mind, it was like they're gonna dominate the whole entire game, and then Wisconsin will score a little bit in the second half because it's like
what happened.
Yeah. I had a good tweet queued up about their depth, but Wisconsin scored on that drive, and I just like kind of left it.
Like, whoops.
So maybe it'll come out against Michigan State, who they should beat by like 70 based on Michigan State the last 2 weeks.
I do think what was remarkable to me, a few things. When you dissect the games, I was like, you know what? I think like Wisconsin's gonna slow the game down for the long run, but maybe not in the short term. Like Ohio State should start fast, night game, excited, whatever. What was funny was you mentioned the rushing attack, like Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson. Like, are there two better running backs? Take those two guys and put them on different teams. Are there two better running backs in the Big Ten? Like, I mean,
are they the two best running backs in the Big Ten is what you're saying?
Ibrahim from Minnesota is probably better than one of them, right? And then the guy from Michigan is great too. But like, I mean, we've got two in the top 5. It's insane. So, but
Wisconsin's freshman's really good. He's going to be really
right.
Good.
That's no, for sure. And he's only like 17 or whatever, like they say all the time. But what's tremendous to me is that it seems like that must be frustrating, but so fun at the same time. Like if you're not the guy, but you're still having like imagine if you were just the only running back and you could run for 200 yards every game, and like Travion Henderson gets him down the field and is on the 2-yard line, and then Mayan Williams comes in to run it in. It's like literally like it's how we feel about fantasy football. In real life, it must be worse, right? Like the guys vulturing touchdowns.
I saw to go towards wide receivers a little bit. I saw some rumors on Twitter from like not Bill Landis, Austin Wards, that said like hearing JSN may be out for the year, which normally I would be like, this is just smoke because it's a random Twitter account. But it is kind of weird that like he played against Toledo and then didn't play against Wisconsin. Right. Like, I don't know if he's going to be out for the year, obviously, but I also think there's a lot of people probably in his ears. And there's a lot of people saying, hey, Jamar Chase didn't play his whole senior year as the number 5 pick or whatever. And now he's on like, I think there's a chance that, what was expected to be the number, like the greatest season for an Ohio State wide receiver ever is going to really, 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 really come up short of it. And whether that means he's out for the year, whether that means he plays 2 more games the whole year, like and they clearly have enough weapons, but it is a little disappointing that like we're not going to get the full JSN experience.
Yes, 100%. I'm so with you. I think what's even crazier is that if you would have bet on him to win the Heisman, like that stinks. Like that just would be just a disaster. But it is insane because like you look back at Ohio State
laughing because we both did that, not because
right.
He's hurt.
Right. We talked about it on the last episode. Like, who gives a shit about Heisman stuff when we'd rather just have him be healthy and playing well and going to the NFL? But at the end of the day, right, it's like Ohio State is a school where it's like people, the brotherhood and the culture and the pageantry and the history of Ohio State football means something to guys that go there. It's like the reason they go there and stuff. And I think that we got to have the fewest people that sit out bowl games and the fewest people that sit out seasons and sit out games because they are injured because they want to do stuff for the brotherhood. I mean, like I can only think of, Olave and Garrett Wilson last year. And I think that was a little bit different, right? Because in theory, the Rose Bowl, it's a meaningful game, but kind of meaningless at the same time. Usually Ohio State is playing in meaningful games, which matters for when they're sitting out and stuff too, for sure. But like the only guy I can think of is like Nick Bosa. It's like the only guy I can think of that got hurt and was like, you know what? I'm not going to mess this up. I'm about to be a top 5 pick.
Well, not to go against your theory, but since Nick Bosa they've only been in meaningful bowl games. They were in the playoff for 2 straight years and then the Rose Bowl. So it's not like they don't really. There's not that many opportunities for guys to opt out.
Right, but I guess
like Haskins, they were in it was the Sugar Bowl that year, right? When Haskins was the quarterback. So they were in the Sugar Bowl, and then they were in 2 straight playoffs with Fields.
I guess more so than that. That's for sure. That's for sure. No doubt they're playing meaningful games. That's the clear devil's advocate argument to what I'm saying. I guess maybe it's because we have the best trainers in the world and guys are never out for the season, or if they are out for the season, it's a season-ending injury versus Jackson Smith-Njigba he's been in, he's been out, he's been hurt, he's been not hurt. Like Nick Bosa could have come back and played, but didn't. I don't know if there's any guys that could have come back. Like Denzel Burke yesterday almost played with a huge freaking thing on his fist, Yeah. And stuff like that, I guess. Like JT Barrett, and granted, JT Barrett, the argument would be like, well, he wasn't going to go to the NFL, but JT Barrett, the dude tore something in his knee and came back and played against Michigan, or tried to for a little, so it's just, it's interesting. I would not be surprised if JSN didn't come back. It would stink. It wouldn't be,
I think if he didn't come back, it wouldn't be because he could get hurt again. I think it would be if you play hurt, there's going to be other wide receivers across the country that have a lot better stats and production than you, which will hurt your draft stock. I think it'll be more of not fear of getting hurt, but fear of because every year that happens. There's the guy who's supposed to be the number 1 pick. There's the guy who's supposed to be the top running back, wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. It's funny because I had this argument with a friend of my parents, who his son is a junior starting in varsity and an IMG prep type school for football, and he sprained his high ankle sprain, which in football anywhere, but in football that's a huge deal. It's hard to do, and he was stuck between does he physically, if he can play, right? If he's not gonna be 100%, but if he can play, do you play? And it's well, he doesn't want to put bad tape out there for colleges, and he doesn't want, but for me, and this goes the same thing with JSN wanting to go pro. It's those guys, when they're out there on the field, if you have that in the back of your head, then that's just, you're just in the wrong profession, right? You're in the wrong sport. You're in the wrong career. What do you're going out there to be the best. You're not worried about, oh, I'm 80%. Oh, I'm 70%. A guy on USC looks great today. I got to be great today. I don't think that's, I really hope that's not kind of the thought process. I understand that argument for sure. And I'm not saying that you are weak for thinking that way, but I think a person that's a weak mindset argument. I think it's more so, I mean, Sam Howell, who came into the year as the number 1 pick last year and then turned out to be a 4th round pick, I mean, it's should he have just sat out because he would have been the number 1 pick? It's sure, it's a weird dynamic. There's no doubt.
But we're also not talking about probably 1st round to 4th round with JSN. It just might be you could see him coming back and there's not enough teams that need receivers, and it's an early 2nd round type thing. So it is obviously different. But I also think
what a crazy dynamic.
Ohio State, you could argue, and I'm not going to say this for sure. You could make an argument that Ohio State values NFL production over production at Ohio State. And what I mean by that is, it could be more valuable to recruiting and the future of Ohio State for JSN to be a top 15 pick and be really good his rookie year, sophomore year, etc., than to if it makes you that much closer to a championship, which is crazy to think about, but I don't
think so interesting. It's so interesting. I don't disagree. I just can't imagine a world where they think that way again. That would be so insane if they're
Joey Molinaro did a whole segment the other day of I hate when people say you could make the argument, or I'm not saying the Bills are going to go 17-0 because there's a lot of that, but you could make an argument with the schedule. So I'm doing that.
Andrew, the Bills lost today, so
I know that's what I'm saying people who said that now they didn't say the Bills are going to go 17-0, but they said you could make an argument that there's a path to 17-0 for the Bills.
Right. You know what's funny? Genuinely, the only school, regardless of sport, that I think he cares more about getting guys to the NBA is John Calipari than winning. It really does seem like that. Yeah. The way he goes around and sees all his guys in the NBA, and it's always like Holtman goes and sees his guys too. He goes and sees them like once he posts on Twitter about it, and then it's like, all right, how can we win at Ohio State? It's so.
But that might be because he really can't coach, so you have to boast your.
We don't want to turn this into how I feel about John Calipari. I think he's great.
Yeah,
he's great. But when we played him my freshman year, there was a whole lot of coaching going on our sideline, and I don't know how much coaching was going on their sideline. That's all I'll say.
The last thing we'll say about football is
love football.
The last thing we'll say about football, and we do love football, is that CJ Stroud is the overwhelming favorite to win the Heisman right now. Like, it is literally like the expression his to lose, like it's literally his to lose. I think he would have to miss.
So does JSN want to come back to help CJ Stroud win the Heisman?
He doesn't need him. That's the thing. Like,
well, just to put a bow on that argument, also, this was the last thing I wanted to say is Ohio State is not going to rush JSN back because they don't, for a number of different reasons that we already talked about, but mostly because they don't need him. Clearly.
If he's playing, I could see his first game being back against Iowa to get back into things before the Penn State game. If he's not playing by the time the Penn State game comes around, I can't see them being like, all right, you're back for Northwestern or Indiana or Maryland. Yeah. And then there's no way they're like, all right, you're back for Michigan. And then unless he would literally would be at 100% by then.
I think that for a guy like him, with the aspirations that he has and how important he is and how incredibly great he is, I think that it's clear that he's not going to play unless he's 100%.
And I actually am going to say a little counter to what I was just saying. If he's 100%, he will play also. That's what I
agree. Yeah, I agree too.
So maybe it would be crazy if he didn't play until the Michigan game, but if he literally was 100%, I could see him being like, all right, I'm good for the next 4 games, which is Michigan, Big Ten championship, hopefully playoff, hopefully.
I do also think this might be like a Jackson Smith-Njigba wants to play, but Ohio State just won't clear him. Like, he's not 100%. Like, he says he's 100%, but he goes out there and he doesn't look 100%. They're like, no, dude, like, you got to be 100%. What's the injury?
It's his
groin.
Is his groin or hamstring?
I think it's his groin.
Didn't he play? Wasn't he active against Toledo and he didn't have a catch?
He sounds right. Probably because I started him in fantasy.
If I'm wrong about him playing in Toledo, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure he was active against Toledo.
Well, I think he played too.
Because he was not active against Arkansas State for sure.
Right.
But then I think he was active, but didn't play but didn't have a catch. CJ. Oh, wait. I apologize. I was looking at rushing, and that's why he didn't have a catch. He played against Toledo, and he had 2 catches for 33 yards. So whatever happened in that,
the old Marvin Harrison.
Yeah. Shout out to Cade Stover, our favorite player.
Yeah, that dude is a freaking animal. Oh man, he is awesome. He is as tough as they come. He's the Baby Gronk nickname has been stolen by the guy at Georgia, which that guy's
there's like 100 Baby Gronks.
There are 100 Baby Gronks, but he's our Baby Gronk.
Yeah. Oh, he's our little Baby Gronk.
He's not little. He's our big Baby Gronk.
I think he deserves a DM to try and get on the show. I'll take care of that. But Joey, let's talk a little bit about basketball. It's not basketball season. We joke around, but it is Cruton season. So do you want to talk a little bit about not like analysis on the player, but just the player they got, how excited fans should be about Ohio State in the future? You told DeVere Posey to get ready for a Final Four in 2056. Do you still think that's when it's coming, or do you think it'll be earlier than that?
Well, first of all, Ohio State basketball is in a really good place in terms of everything beyond, like, I don't even know how to phrase this. I'll start over. The way you phrased me the question, Tyson Chapman is his name. Tyson Chapman, I think is how you say it. 31 overall ranked in the country. The coaches love him. He is the prototypical Chris Holtmann guy that he's had at Ohio State so far, a guy that plays multiple positions, can handle the ball, play on the wing, stretch four. He's a bigger body, long and lanky, can guard every position. Like he is a prototypical Coach Holtmann guy. Ohio State has the #1 recruiting class in the Big Ten. All that is fine and dandy, but we all know we need to win the Big Ten. We need to win the Big Ten. We need to compete to win the Big Ten. We need to win the NCAA tournament. I get it. The recruiting is great. The tough news is Bronny James is probably not going to happen now, just purely because of numbers and because what we talked about last week. With him, with that new rule, it's like, well, what is he going to do? I still think he's going to go to college. I really do. I saw a rumor that LeBron wants, this has to be a fake rumor, but saw a rumor that LeBron wants out of his LA Lakers extension so that he can go buy the Suns, play for the Suns, and draft Bronny, which I think is hilarious.
That's not going to happen because he's going to be the owner, GM, player, coach of the Vegas team in a few years. So that's going to be tough for him to own two teams.
So before there's more LeBron stuff that I'd like to talk about. But the last thing I'll say about Ohio State basketball is Adam Jardy, our good friend, is reporting, and I am confirming that Buckeyes in the Blacktop is back this year. So October 6th, I think, maybe 12th, something like that, is the tentative date, I believe, out on the North Courts by the stadium for anybody listening that's going to end up attending. I'm sure I'll be there, which will be a blast. It's always a really, really fun event. It hasn't happened since I was in school. And the plans, in talking with some of the support staff for Ohio State, the plans for it in the future years are really, really, really cool. In years past, it's been hey, meet the men's, women's, and men's basketball teams.
Men's, women's, and men's.
Yeah, Jesus. Been a long weekend. Meet the men's and women's basketball team, and then do a dunk contest, do a 3-point contest, do like a shooting stars type of deal, shake hands, sign autographs, call it a day. There are really cool plans. I don't know about this year, but for the future that I don't want to share because I don't think that's fair. But it'll be really, really fun. Go out and support them because
I got a crazy stat for you.
Sure. Yeah. Hit me with a crazy stat.
Only 8% of our listeners are in college. So address those 8%.
Hey guys, first of all, leave your dorm and go have some fun. Hopefully you're listening to us when you're working out or walking to class and not like on a Friday night, I guess is what I would say to address them. But no, it'll be a blast. I really do think it'll be fun. I think that I would argue that there might be more fans than students maybe at it, just because it's not super accessible for students. Actually, now it's more accessible because there are way more dorms and living arrangements on North Campus versus when I was in school, which is hilarious to say because now I feel old, which I'm not. But anyway, long story short, Buckeyes in the Blacktop will be a blast. I still think that anybody they throw out there in the 3-point contest can't beat me. TBT to when I won the 3-point contest and no one even like knew about it because like social media for Ohio State basketball wasn't even like that cool then. There's a short video of me winning it and like that's it. And I literally, Mark Titus was the MC and he like comes up to me and interviews me for like 3 seconds after and was like, Joey, congrats. Like, what do you have to say? And I said, if you guys get to the games early, warm-ups will look a lot like that. Basically is what I said. I beat Jaquan Lyles so bad they had to lie about his final round scores in the tweets, which is so funny. I won I went 19 for 25 and he went, 5 balls, 5 spots, whatever. And he went 8 for 25, but they said he went 15 for 25, which is really, really funny. What else about that? Oh, I had to beat Kelsey Mitchell to get to the championship, which is also funny. WNBA legend Kelsey Mitchell, Ohio State basketball legend Kelsey Mitchell. But yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time. Dave Bell dunked over me in in the dunk contest.
Huh.
God, that was such a weird.
I've seen that video.
That was just a weird time of my life, just looking back at it. I will say, had a blast from the past at the basketball tailgate. Jay Tate was there. He's back in Columbus. So me and him were chatting, and Jaquan Lyle, who's one of JT's best friends going back years, who was they're the same age, both a year older than me, but Jaquan took a prep year. So he went to Ohio State with me as a freshman. So us three were together for 2 years for Jaquan because he left. Me and JT were there for 3, obviously. But so we were just sharing all of our bullshit stories from our time at Ohio State with Jake Diebler, who's now the assistant head coach, but he was the video coordinator with us. And man, Jaquan Lyle would be a great guy to have on the show. We will. That's like talk about a blast from the past. Bill Landis will be like, "What in the world is going on?" Joey Lane is interviewing Jaquan Lyle on this show. So yeah, that's all I got for basketball. We do need to talk about one thing that LeBron tweeted, and subsequently a lot of Ohio State football people have tweeted about. Why is he doing this thing where he just wants attention, saying, "Do I have eligibility to play in college?" You know the answer, LeBron, and you know you're not going to do anything. So
Wait, I actually have a question. Does he have eligibility?
Absolutely, yeah. Same reason J.R. Smith has eligibility.
Right. That's what I was. That was what I was gonna say. Who cares though? We got some engagement on the quote tweet.
Yeah. What did we do? Sorry.
No, I just quote tweeted it with the picture of him in the Ohio State.
Oh yeah,
throwing the ball.
Toss. Yeah.
And I said, come home with Bronny, and then Brutus used the same picture. So here's my question: do we think that's just the first picture that pops up when you search Ohio State LeBron, or do we think Brutus saw our tweet and was like, "That's a great pick to use"? Brutus, who is in the hospital from getting knocked out.
Brutus, prayers up to Brutus. I think that I'll tell you what the answer is. I retweeted it, and Brutus follows me.
They saw it.
They saw it. They definitely saw it.
Wait, here's my question.
You think Brutus would come on the podcast?
Not my question. Did you see Evan Turner's tweet?
Which one? He tweeted today. And said, "Wawa still is too lit." LOL.
So, I think it was his tweet. I saw a lot of tweets last night. Basically said we're beating Wisconsin so bad they're giving an injury update on Brutus.
Yes, he did say that, and that was so funny. He is such an underrated Twitter guy. It's unreal. Whatever he says is funny. Maybe
I need to know whoever runs his podcast social media. Not like I need to talk to him. I'm just curious who it is because I saw some funny tweets. It was like Andre Iguodala because he announced.
I want Iguodala.
Well, he announced he was coming back, and then Bleacher Report posted it, and they replied and was like, "No tag to the source?" ? It's like he's the source. He's the source. Anyone can run with it.
Yeah, wouldn't it be weird if someone tweeted Joey Lane confirms that he'll be calling the Ohio State football game or whatever? There's an announcing Twitter page or whatever. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. And then we comment and we're like, where's the tag, bro? It's
right.
Because it looks like Andre Iguodala is saying that.
Right. It's different if you go on someone else. If we posted if we did an interview with Tyvis, for example, and he announced he was the Browns play-by-play guy now. And then we said, well,
congrats, Tyvis.
Right. He still did that on our show. But if we announce anything, it's it's our own stuff.
Right. And that's so funny. But at the end of the day, it's always funny because I'll let you guys in on a little secret. For those who don't know, Andrew tweets 98% of the things that come from Drive the Lane, maybe even 99.5. And I still get texts every single, definitely Saturday. It's like, "Hey, that tweet was really funny," or "Hey, blah, 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 whatever." And I'm like, "It's not me, it's Andrew." Caleb Clark responded, was like, "This meme is great." And I'm like, it's like, it wasn't me.
That was a great meme, though. I thought it would do better. And the problem is there's just too much going on Twitter. There's a million tweets going on. But we did
use that forever. We can use that during basketball season.
But the Shazier tweet went crazy, which is great.
I mean, he's the man. That's a guy how about a list of guys that we need to have on that we'll never have on? Is he on it? For sure.
Ooh. Pause that. Let's bring that to our next episode. We can even talk about it with Diebler, and then maybe he can be like, "Oh, I'll help you with that guy." but we can do lists. We'll do maybe 6 each, 7 each. We'll text about it and tweet at us to add to it. And hopefully we'll tell you, hey, we actually have had that person on. Here's the link. But we'll go through the list of guys and we'll put some rules on it. There has to be you have to be able to tie it in to Ohio State, but you can stretch it. For example, yes. LeBron would, and also there has.
I think LeBron's in a different category.
Yeah, there has to be a cutoff.
Yeah.
Blank basketball theory, which I've told you about. We talked about with Tyvis. See, it's a callback to the old episode. But there's a level. But I would say any former Ohio State player is not too high, but LeBron is too high.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
You know what? I'm actually going to say there's not a too high of level because we've had Urban on. So now I'm actually going to say, but we'll say no LeBron.
No LeBron.
No,
that's
LeBron.
Fine. Yeah. Can we just quickly throw John Diebler under the bus real quick? Quickly. He was supposed to be on the show and he's not. That's all I'll say.
But we also
but he'll be on next week.
We need to quickly throw Moses, God, all the famous Jewish people from the olden times under the bus, because we also have Jewish holiday stuff too.
Yes, that was the real problem.
We would have been able to make it work with Diebler, but unfortunately Jewish holidays. So,
and with that being said, Lashana Tova to all who support us.
Unfortunately, I don't have demographics of Jewish listeners, but
if you would have just hit me with Joe, 57% of our listeners are Jewish, I would have been like, oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to say 38%. That's my number guess.
Are you working tomorrow?
Half and half.
Yeah, half and half.
Exactly. Are you working tomorrow?
Yeah, I work. Yes. I'm in Ohio.
I'm actually fasting tomorrow, even though it's not Yom Kippur.
I start a juice cleanse on Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm not actually fasting tomorrow.
I was supposed to start tomorrow, but I was going to start tomorrow because I was like, well, I'm not going to I'm not doing anything for Rosh Hashanah and I feel bad. I'm not going to go home. So I'm like, I'll just instead just start this juice cleanse to not, because it's always, you don't know, but it's sad for me because my whole family gets together and I'm not there and I'm the only one not there. So it's something to keep your mind off it a little bit, I guess, I was going to start a 3-day juice cleanse and I have 18 bottles of juice in my fridge ready.
Let me ask you something. If you put a Raising Cane's tender and tender sauce in a blender and juice it up, is that a juice or no?
No, not according to this Amazon thing. I'm doing it because I really do think the last month I've been on, for Joey Lane, one of the biggest benders, quote unquote, of my life, traveling a ton, not working out at all, not sleeping very much, drinking more than I normally do or want to, eating terribly.
Wait, so is Joey Lane in college finally?
I think I'm in college right now. I feel like it. But it's just funny because the guys I went to London with were like, hey, we're being pieces of shit this whole week. And it's on the heels of an Ohio State football game. And then when we get back, there's an Ohio State, we were just like, okay, we'll do a juice cleanse at some point soon. And so we picked that day. So
here's what's coming up on the agenda. Juice cleanse. Diebler on the show.
Lashana Tova first. Happy Rosh Hashanah. That's first. Then the juice cleanse.
Juice cleanse, Diebler on the show, and a list of people we want to get on the show.
The list is more specific than that. It's people we want on the show that will never be on the show.
No.
No, that's yes.
But wouldn't be impossible / that crazy if we got it.
Okay, how about rephrase? People we want on the show, and one person has to be but he won't be on it. You pick 5 or whatever, but it's your starting 5.
Starting lineup, 6th man is dream guest. No way they come on. Not dream, but
you know what? We've done this before because I remember, and I'm not going to steal any of my picks, but I'm sure we've got a lot of people that weren't listening to the show back then. So that's good. We'll definitely.
But also, we're not going to pick Tiger Woods because there's not the connection there.
That's true. What else is on the agenda? So we go Lashana Tova, we go Rosh Hashanah, and then Juice cleanse. Then show with Diebler next week.
But before all that, we're going to beat Michigan State. And before all that, we got to talk to you about our presenting sponsor, Brain Fuel.
Before that, we lose our fantasy football matchup. Then record with Diebler. And then before you know it, well, I'm coming back to Chicago, but I won't see you. But before you know it, it's our live show.
Live show, November 4th. We got a little bit before then, but it is coming up. Ohio State does play Penn State before the live show.
And I do think that I'm going to come a day early, and I'm going to try and do one of those swish whatever, like basketball workout things. I'm going to try and do that because they don't have them in Columbus. They have them in Chicago. So I'm going to try and do that.
I know they fill up. So I would look into it now.
All right.
All right, anything else?
Brittany, anything for us?
Shut out the vibe.
That's gonna. If anybody wasn't a fan of the Jewish religion before this show, they are now.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend Brittany. For the listeners out there,
was that her debut?
No, I actually talked about her one time, like 2 years ago, and she got pissed because I said something.
Oh, but her voice, her debut.
Yeah.
Has to be.
She'll be at the live show for all the fans out there. You can take pictures with my girlfriend.
We just have a booth of stuff that we need to start working on giveaways probably too, right?
Yeah.
If anybody has anything they want to donate to Drive the Lane to give away, let us know.
Yep.
T-shirts, jerseys, be a presenting sponsor of a giveaway. You know, we're in it for that.
Let's do it. Reach out to us. Tell us who should be on our list.
We're going to be giving away Andrew Zolden, Mizzou, A-Pie jerseys. It's going to be crazy.
And a massage from Andrew Zolden, or no?
What, you can't. No. I don't think we should say that.
Okay.
It's speaking of Mizzou, tough loss this week.
All right. Nope. We're not getting into that. Buckle up. Drive the lane. You were on mute somehow.
Really?
Yeah, what'd you say?
Touchdown, Christian Kirk.
Oh, good. Buckle up, drive the lane, touchdown, Christian Kirk.
Go Buckeyes. Screw John Diebler and beat
Clocking out early, that's the dish I don't like. Been getting paid since I was riding on the bike. Hit the pedal with the 8th, hopping on the 9th flight. I've been chilling out of sight, I'll be at the bar tonight. Told the bartender, go and take my card to swipe. You try the same thing, but your card get declined. White rappers nowadays, no, we're not too hard to find. I'm so dapper with my ways, I'm gonna linger in your mind. Always told me good things will come to those who are patient, but I've been way too patient, writing bars in my basement. I'm anxious in the real world, it's time for me to say this. The basics, the talent in my mind, I can't waste it. My life is too safe, it's my time for risk taking. I'm baking my mind every day, it's the same ish. Lazy, my grind needs to get a new facelift. Coming from the underground and busting through the pavement. Rock with it and lean with it. My team winning, my team winning. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team turned up when I spit it. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team winning, my team winning. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team turned up when I spit it. Don't think that I'm playing because I'm saving the game, and I said that I will be more because oh yeah, that is so raving, racing and pacing around all these lames in my lane, out my way, unless you're trying to pay me. Not from the playpen, it's coming from the jungle. When you hear the bell, you better be ready to rumble, because I'ma grab the gloves and I'm gonna flex my muscles. Go ahead and spit some bars, but you're probably just gonna mumble. A lot of rappers these days really need to get them humble, cause they think they at the top, they better stop before they stumble. Cause I'm swiping all their biddies while they swiping right on Bumble. And your girlie calls me daddy, but she only calls you uncle. But no, we not related, homie, no, we not some fam. You never get in clubs, you can't